All right.
Hey, Coach, we can hear you when you're ready.
Okay, good. Don't have any injuries. I think we came out pretty clean on it. It looks like Frank's after his MRI, the groin looks like it's more of a mild one, and he should be able to return after a little rest that we have here. We'll give the guys a few days off and then reconvene here later.
Recording in progress.
Reconvene later in the week and for practice. So anyways, with that, time's yours. You guys hear me?
Yep, we've got you, Coach. Let's go first to Seren Petro. Go ahead,
Seren. Coach, just first of all, and I'll have a follow-up real quick. Just McCole Hardman, just an update on where that sits and how optimistic a couple of weeks from now you are.
Yeah, so I thought he might be able to go this past week. That's a hiccup on my end. I mean, he's trying. I mean, he's trying to get this thing right, and it's just a matter of time. So really, day to day. Although he feels better today than he did on Saturday, so we'll just see how it goes during practice.
And then just a follow up, I'm not asking you to critique the officials. I know how you don't want to do that, but just, it is such a fast game. You had a tackle on Patrick Mahomes where, Max Crosby sacked. He had a good grip on the helmet, right? And the helmet's supposed to be part of the face mask. My question would be, do you anticipate there being change next year to, reviewing at least those, if you can't review everything the way we've heard Bill Belichick say, that maybe that there'll be an umbrella of player safety or face mask type of things, are used, that there could be a change in that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, listen, I sit in on a lot of those meetings, so there's always change going to take place. I mean, sometimes it's smaller than other years, but I know they'll go back and look, the league will look at everything and competition committee will look at everything. So they do a pretty good job with all that stuff.
Let's go next to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
Coach, appreciate the time here. I'm wondering, during this bye week when you're with the team and going through the game plan, are you game planning for multiple teams, or is it one opponent that you guys kind of zero in on? How do you approach that when you kind of are waiting to know?
Yeah, well, you try, you don't know exactly, but a couple of teams we've played, a couple of teams we haven't. So, we'll try to focus in on the ones we think that we have a chance to play most of all, but also cover all of them. And while we have time I'm saying as a coaching staff, and then we'll narrow that down for the players as we get them this week, before we actually know for next week. So, but we'll work on some things that we need work on.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach, similar question to Aaron. I know you've had the bye week a couple times now. In your experience, what's the best way to treat it when it comes to the amount of rest you want when you guys get back in the mix? Just an outlook of your week until Monday.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's the trick to it is the balance, and then how the players utilize their free time. So, and coaches for that matter. I mean, we've got to make sure that we keep on top of the scheme stuff too. So we'll see how all that works out. But yeah, that I tell you, that's a trick to it, is to try to keep the balance for the players, stay sharp, and coaches still can add a couple things into the guys, into their mix. And then we go from there.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy. Was wondering whether it was a tough decision to activate Butker and have him be your guy on in Las Vegas, or whether that was a kind of a slam dunk, whether Harrison was feeling a lot better than he had been earlier in the week.
Yeah, no, he was great with us communication wise. So just like I'd say the same thing with McCole, has been great with communication. So that ends up being important when guys are banged up a little bit. And so Harrison told us he felt good, and we trusted him with it and went with it.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hello, Coach. I have two quick questions for you. The first is, how much do you think Patrick's experience in the playoffs will better serve him and the offense? And then Brad, I'll have a second question.
Yeah, sure. I mean, experience helps. It is single elimination, so everybody's got to be sharp. It's not just Patrick. We've all got to do our job and do it well, knowing what the result is. So, but it doesn't hurt Pat to have the experience that he has. Yeah.
And lastly, Coach, I know you addressed Justin Reid about his comments ahead of the Cincinnati game, but pretty much since that game on, he's probably played his best for the Chiefs so far. I just wonder what you've noticed from him in the second half of the season, and obviously as being a leader for the defense.
Yeah, he's done a nice job in both those areas. I mean, he's worked hard, and it really, I think just being more familiar with the defense helps. I've noticed that with all the veteran guys that come in, just the familiarity of what you're trying to do and get accomplished, I think, is important. And you get that through reps, and normally it's game reps. So when teams are throwing you little different things that you've got to make some quick decisions on, with the options that you have within the scheme. So I think he's done a nice job there.
Let's go next to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach, obviously this was a very unusual circumstance with the no contest between the Bills and the Bengals. And reportedly, the Chiefs abstained from voting on the proposal that ended up working it out. How did you feel about that as far as the equity across all the teams and you're getting the number one seed, but potentially having to play Buffalo at a neutral site down the road?
Yeah, listen, I was so tunneled in on the Raiders at that time when all this was going on. I know Clark and Mark and Brett, I have full trust in them and what they were doing with it. My main focus was trying to make sure we stayed focused on that game on a short week. And so I didn't spend a lot of time worrying about where we were playing or not playing down the road. And we've got to work on getting there. And that was more of a job for the people I mentioned there to do. And I thought they did a good job with it.
So we have one more. We'll go last to Vahe. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Andy. You were talking earlier about the sort of sense of balance when you have the bye week, and how I think the implied point there is also the trust in the players. And I wonder, if that's something by now that is overtly stated. Do you have to talk about that? How much it speaks to the culture you've developed, that however you were able to handle that now with trust.
Yeah, I think the guys, they understand all that. I mean, we had a meeting this morning, team meeting this morning, and we covered what what we're going to try to do, attempt going forward here. So with practices and meetings and all that. So they're well aware of it, and they understand the magnitude of where they sit right now and the opportunity that they have. There's not a lot of teams playing right now. So it's a great opportunity, and you want to take full advantage of that the best you can.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Yep, you bet.